Well, I should have. You know what I should have done, Carl, is I should have started a space during the game. So when they were losing, right, I could talk about him and see him sweat, because he can't. He's not going to sit there and tell me he wasn't sweating. There's no way, right? So I can at least get that satisfaction, right? I at least get to have that, knowing that he's sitting there pooping his pants, that the Bears could lose this game.
Wow.
And he was gonna send me, right? Then he would have to send me $20. I should have started a space last night. Come to think about it. But hey,
Well, listen. If things keep going the way they have been, the Bears might leave Chicago. I heard the Bears were contemplating. Brandon Johnson is making it so hot. The Bears gotta leave.
Bears gotta leave. Nah, they ain't going nowhere. They ain't going nowhere. What's up? What's happening? What's happening? Twitter. What's going on with you? Facebook, and YouTube at this point in time. What's happening? It's a Sunday. Y'all know what happens during Sunday. You know what's going on this Sunday. No ifs, ands, or buts. The man is in the house. What's happening, Dexter?
Everything is lovely, brother. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Other than that loss that I took last night, that I'm still getting over. But I ain't like, I'm not like a Viking fan or the Bears when they do lose, right? I go through it, and then I'm done with it. I go through it, then I'm done with it. So we lost last night. I owe Corey $20. $20, and I will see Corey in some space soon. Period, point blank. So the Bears, but
there we go.
At the end of the day, Dexter, the Bears still suck. Regardless of what the score was last night, regardless if they they came back and all of this here type of stuff, they still suck. Still. That ain't never gonna change.
You cold as ice.
I know. I can.
Cold, Reverend Tim.
I can deal with the Vikings. I can deal with the Vikings all day. I'm used to dealing with them knuckleheaded fans. And Detroit. I got friends who are Detroit fans also, and I have to deal. But the Bears, that's hate. That's pure hatred. Hate. When it comes to that, hey, just flat out, no ifs, ands, or buts. Period, point blank. I would rather cheer for the Cowboys, and I hate the Cowboys because all my family down south are Cowboy fans. I would rather cheer for the Cowboys than ever say I like. They Dexter, they would have me they would be kidnap me, and they say the only way you can get out of here if you say you like the Bears. Kill me.
Where's my sleeping bag?
I'll be like, kill me. No, kill me. Just do it. Get it over with, because it's never gonna happen.
Kill me.
It's never. I'll say I like the Vikings. I'll say I like the Lions. I'll even say I like the 49ers. But I'm never gonna say that I like the Bears ever. It will never happen.
I hear that.
And Corey, until next year, is my enemy. So, period, point blank.
Wow.
Done. So what's going on, Dexter? How we doing, man? How you doing, bro?
Everything hanging in there one day at a time. That's all it is. How you doing?
I have been busy, brother. I have been busy. Going out, chasing ice on one day and going to these these
yeah.
protests and going to the memorials and I've been it's been wild here this week. It has been wild, bro.
You've been following ICE agents around, huh?
I've been looking for them. I seen a couple of them down on Lake Street sitting in the Target parking lot. So I circled them a couple of times. But you know, I'm sitting here going, you know, I don't put myself. I do my best not to put myself, you know, in a situation, right? Because I carry, right, and I'm not gonna irk. I'm not gonna irk nobody at all. That's not what I do.
Right.
Because I carry for a reason. And I'll tell you right now.
Well, and also.
Yeah. So no.
Well, look. I mean, whether or not you carry, the point is that whether or not you carry, the point is that they're carrying.
Exactly.
So it's like you know, I'm looking at this news here, and I'm like, listen, you know, I don't know, Rev. I think, you know, okay, our leftist brethren are not going to come. They're not going to get on our side. Well and good. We're not going to get on their side. And the thing is, if we're honest, right, it's you know, you do need. It's important to have people who have an eye on what the government is doing, who have like an adversarial eye on what the government is doing. That's, you know, it's okay. There's a policy that says these officers are supposed to execute warrants and to arrest people who violate federal law by doing justice. So very well. Okay, well, if these people broke the law, these agents are employed to go after them. They have to follow procedures, all that following procedures. All these are very good questions, and we should, you know, as citizens of a republic, right? We should never be afraid to ask those questions, and we should never be afraid to scrutinize the actions of our government, right? Whether we're on the left or the right, okay. But, you know, the fact is that there's a way to go about things, right? First of all, to give yourself the best chance of surviving any given encounter. That's the first thing. Because, you know, I'm a parent, you're a parent. A lot of our brethren in our little group on social media, you know, have kids, and our brothers and sisters have kids, and we want our kids, when they go out there, to conduct themselves in such a way that they have the best possible chance of surviving the encounter. And, you know, my big problem with this thing that happened in Minnesota is that some of us, is that on the left, they seem to be, like the white privilege, first of all, is out of control on the left. And that's my biggest problem. Is I'm very sorry this woman is dead who got shot by the ICE agent. She should, you know, she's a human being. She's a fellow American. And that diminishes me in some way. So I'm not happy about it. I'm not, you know, no. It's like, this is a terrible thing that happened. Someone lost their life. Now the question is, could she have done something differently for a better chance of surviving that encounter? Well, it seems like she did. She could have. I don't know all the facts about what happened in that crucial, like that you know, 1 or 2 minute period when everything jumped off.
Have you seen the video?
I can say that, like, if, for example, if you were following, I have, of course not. We have no internet in here.
Oh.
So I haven't seen the video.
I thought you got TV. Y'all got CNN.
No, we don't get the prison guards look at CNN. We don't get CNN.
Oh. Okay.
What is this? Let's put the video aside. Let's put the video aside for a second.
All right.
Why are you following ICE agents around? Why? You see what I'm saying? Like, don't do that. That's the first thing. Do not follow police around. Right? If you think they are doing something wrong, and by the way, as a conservative, let me say that there's always a significant non-zero probability that the police are doing something wrong, or that LEOs in general are doing something wrong, because they're as human as anyone else, right? And they're as liable to cut corners as anyone else. Fair enough. Now the question is, are you planning to reason with the business end of a blunt instrument? Because the police officer or the federal agent who is serving a warrant or effecting an arrest is effectively he is the business end of a blunt instrument. And the problem is that the business end of a blunt instrument does not have any ideas. It's not supposed to have any ideas. And if you want to do something about that blunt instrument, then you have to take it up with the person or persons wielding the blunt instrument. Take this up with the courts. Take it up in the political sphere. Take it up with the legislature. But, to put yourself in a situation, and then when you're detained by an officer, to make it kinetic by cutting the engine of your car and trying to peel away, that just is a bad idea. And I want, especially our young leftist brethren out there, it's like, I don't like your politics, but I don't want you to die. I don't want you to die because we disagree about politics. So don't do that. Do not do that. So that's my take on that. And of course, like I said, there should be an inquest, right? There should be an investigation, because there has to be an investigation when a law enforcement officer takes someone's life, under public authority in the line of duty. Fair enough.
Sure.
But my thing is, if you don't put yourself in these situations, then there's a smaller chance you will even be in a situation, and it's going to end up where there has to be an inquest because you're dead on the sidewalk or dead in your vehicle.
Right.
And
right.
That's my conservative take on it. Yeah.
Yeah. See, the whole thing about it is it was like I was explaining to a group of people, and they was asking me what was my take on just ICE period being in Minnesota, and they was saying, because I've got this thing right now that I got a few people in the black community who is upset at me because of my mindset and my thought about what's going on and what's happening. And one of the things that I told, like I said before, because you guys were not in North Minneapolis or St. Paul during the 90s when they had the Jump Out Boys, right? This looks new. What's going on right now looks new to you, where you literally have these ICE agents running up on people at gas stations or wherever, stores, and they're just jumping out and just grabbing people, right? They're not. There's there's a couple of people that they didn't even ask them for any ID or anything. They just grabbed them. So in the 90s, right, when we had what we called the gang they put together a gang task force in St. Paul and in Minneapolis, right?
Yep.
They would just roll up. Yep. You know what I'm talking about, right? They would just roll up.
I know what you're talking about.
Jump out of the car and just grab people. It was like they didn't ask who you was. They didn't say who they was coming to get. It was anybody they got their hands on that didn't run fast enough away from them. They was grabbing them and throwing them in the car. So this looks exactly like that to us in the black community. So we're going, that happened to us. So you want us to react? You want us to get upset, to get mad? That happened and nobody said nothing. Nobody said a word when it was happening to us. But now you want us to get out in the streets and march on something that we've been through. We've been through this. They have terrorized our community exactly like they're doing right now. And nobody said a word. It was okay. All right? So I have been, only reason I've been out on the streets is if I see a black person at these rallies, I'm literally going up to them and saying, go home. I don't want you out here. I don't want to give Trump any reason to sit here and turn this ire on black folks. No reason. We ain't done nothing. You didn't come to Minneapolis, Minnesota for us. Period, point blank. For African Americans descended of slaves, you ain't here for us.
Well, here's the thing. I take a somewhat different view, which is this. I think you're right for the wrong reasons, right? Because in my opinion, yes, we can see things can happen, right? That we say, oh, we recognize this, right? We see what's going on here. This has happened before, okay? But that's a separate question from, that is a separate question from, for example, is a given law enforcement unit, municipal or federal or state or whatever, are they at any point in time jumping out to serve a valid warrant, right? Are they following the correct procedures? Are they in line with the law? That's the question, right? What we should do as citizens to scrutinize the actions of our employees, because remember, these people work for us, right? That's the question. And like I said, as a conservative, I'm all for us scrutinizing the activities of law. This is a republic, okay? And more than that, law enforcement. There was only one perfect man that ever walked the face of the earth, ever. Okay. Everyone else is just as bullshit as I am. Okay, law enforcement agents included. So everyone's actions need to be scrutinized. No problem. But this is something where, like, well, something happened, but you had someone conducting themselves in a way that was not smart. And whether we agree with what ICE is doing in Minneapolis or not, whether we're pro-immigration or anti-immigration or middle of the road immigration, whether you like Trump, whether you hate Trump, whether you think he's your friend, your enemy, whether you think he's there for you, there for somebody else, all that stuff is to me not relevant, right? How are we supposed to order our behavior, okay, to minimize the chance of something like this happening? That's the first thing. Because before the politics or everything else, I want my kid, if God forbid she has an encounter with law enforcement, I want her to come back home in one piece.
True.
That's the primary thing. But in all the politics is like a distant second, if that. Job one is for our kids to come, or loved ones to come back home to us in one piece. Okay, now the other thing is that, listen, there are a number of people who have come into this country illegally. What is to be done about that? Are we to simply say, well, just take a look again, well, they're here, so we don't say about anything else? We don't. And by the way, all these blue city leftist politicians, right? They have no problem with teaming up with the feds when it suits their agenda. This is another thing. All these people who are like, ICE, get the hell out of so-and-so city, you don't belong here, They have nothing to say when it's ATF. Violating people's Second Amendment rights. They have no problem with that. So I'm not trying to hear nothing. That's my thing. I'm like,
No.
By the way, listen, we all know that. I mean, come on, someone robs the bank. Someone robs the bank in Minneapolis or Minnesota. It's a federal crime. It's federal. Yeah. Okay, so the cops are going to show up, and the feds are going to show up, and they go, okay, that's life. And nobody's going to say, no, we don't need the feds here to investigate a bank robbery. That's a federal crime. If someone's counterfeiting, okay, in Minneapolis or in Minnesota, okay, that's a federal crime. Secret Service is going to show up. That's how that is. Okay, so I don't want to hear all that. They're here to do. No. We know what's happening here. The Democrats have pulled a move, okay, to get a new demographic, to boost census numbers, to boost representation, to enhance their power. And there's an administration that decided that it's not going to go like that. Okay, now does that mean that every LEO who's participating in enforcement actions is doing the right thing all the time? Of course not, because they're all human beings. don't follow these cats around. If they detain you, don't gun the engine and peel your car out because it's likely that something bad is not going to work out well for you. And then that's the interview, and then who are you helping at that point? Nobody. So that's my take on it.
Right. No, but this is, like I said, I'm going at this from our point of view, our standpoint of saying we have so much in our community that we need to work on, to fix, to get right. The last thing we need to be doing is out here talking about messing with ICE in any way. I don't care what ICE does. The only time I was pissed off about ICE is just the other day when these knuckleheads went down to the indigenous. We got this place called Little Earth, right? And everybody knows. Or no, I can't say that because there's people outside of Minneapolis who don't come into Minneapolis at all, but yet talk crap about Minneapolis, who don't know what Little Earth is. So Little Earth is where all of the indigenous people are. Like any homeless indigenous, and it's a lot of them. I mean, a lot of them are down on Cedar and Franklin. And you just don't mess with those people at all. At all, right? They're indigenous. They was here before any of us was here. So you don't go down there and wreak havoc in that area. Period. Point blank. I mean that's two places I think should be off limits. Little Earth and any school. They closed schools here because they thought ICE was going to be running around messing with people. Schools and Little Earth, to me, is off limits. Off limits. Completely off limits. Now, if they want to go to a Target, Walmart, grocery store, they want to go to mom and dad's work, pop's shop, I could care less. Go do what you're doing. If they want to go knock on somebody's door and kick somebody's door now, that's fine. Do your job. I'm not bothering anybody. I don't think anybody should bother them from doing their job. If this is what they came here to do, and the reason, let's see what Dexter, what nobody wants to talk about, especially on the left, is the reason ICE came here in the first place. The reason nobody see. This is what I've learned over the past 3 weeks. People really don't want the truth, bro. They don't. I got people. So I'm down at the rally, and I come back and report what I saw at the rally, brother. What I saw, that I'm down there on the ground, watching people do things. I report what I saw at the rally, and it pisses people off that they're not rioting, that they're not burning stuff, that they're not. It's crazy. No, I'm dead serious. People on the right are pissed because there are no riots going on. It's a peaceful protest. Oh yeah, I've been down there. I've been down there and Go ahead.
Hang on a second.
Go ahead.
Hang on a second. Usually, what my experience usually is that people on the left are the ones who are saying, "Oh, black people should be rioting." When I've heard those arguments, it's not an argument. I won't elevate it to that. No. Black folks riot.
Right.
On the left saying that usually.
Right. But we ain't. Hey, what's happening, John?
On the left.
John Collier. I got to make sure John Collier said, "What's up, Dexter? Happy Sunday." So I want to throw that out there.
Going on, John.
Yeah, but it's just funny, and then we got these knucklehead right-wing influencer stupid fools who are down there causing they are causing trouble. They are. Period, point blank. This Nick, whatever his name is, I was hoping that they pop him in his mouth. Seriously. Leave people alone. Look,
who is it?
his name is Nick
You're talking about
Soto or something crap like that.
Nick?
No, not the Nick kid.
Sotor?
Yeah, whatever his name is. Hold on one second.
Okay.
Hold on.
I thought wait, hang on. It's not Tommy Sotomayor, because that's a black
No, not that knucklehead. No, this is another Nick, whatever his name. Yeah, whatever it is.
Okay. And this is not the young troubled latent homosexual Nick Fuentes.
Oh wow. Wait a minute. You don't like Nick? You know not?
Well,
where
I mean,
it is? You don't.
Whether I like him or not, that's a separate matter. Whether I'm not quote unquote like him is a separate matter. I don't like anybody. What I'm saying is it obvious is a troubled latent homosexual?
You have 1 minute left.
Okay. He's still an American. He still has his rights.
Hold on. No. Because if we're gonna talk about Nick, that's gonna. I gotta write that down.
I don't want to talk about him.
Yeah,
I don't want to talk about him. I'm just establishing that it was or was not him. That's all. That's all. I ain't mad. I'm not mad at him. And we shouldn't talk about it because I don't like to bring snitches into I don't really like to be around snitches or to talk about them or to talk to them. So we shouldn't even really talk about it because he's obviously a federal snitch. But that's a separate matter. I don't care what his hobbies are.
All right.
But Nick Sotor. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about him.
Yeah, well, you got the minute. We got that minute going on. So you do your thing. You do your thing, and okay, sounds like a deal.
Yeah.
The caller has.
All right, people, what's going on with you? Well, you know what we do on Sundays. If this is your first time here, let me clue you in. This is Dexter Taylor. Dexter Taylor is right now in prison in upstate New York. He is our political prisoner, and hoping that somebody would write Donald Trump and get we ain't got enough money. I guess with Donald Trump you got to be rich and fill his pockets in order for him to get you out, like he did all the don't act like you don't know what I'm talking about. Like I said, if you come here, you got to take off that hat. You got to take off if you got a red hat on, you got to take it off. If you got a blue hat on, you got to take it off. Because I'm talking about everybody. Period, point blank. And if you don't like it, only thing you have to do is hit that button that says unfollow or block me, so you don't see mine and I don't see yours. I'm like that, man. I don't have time to be playing around. I do too much to be playing around with idiots. But Dexter Taylor is in prison right now for doing something that we all do and using the Second Amendment, and they put this man in jail for 10 years, and he ain't did nothing. But I guess with Donald Trump, we don't have millions of dollars to get him like what's that reality star? Him and his wife. What was it? We had to do right here in Minnesota. That Donald Trump got this dude off millions of dollars fraud scheme. Got him off. But he can't do that for Dexter Taylor. He can't step in and get him out. Come on, man. Be better than that. But anyway, Dexter Taylor is in prison right now. They gave him a 10-year stint. It was a racist situation, period, point blank. Because what they did is they took a black judge off of his case, took a white judge off of his case and put a black one on there. So when they put this black man in jail, then we couldn't call it racist. Well, I'm calling it racist from point blank because of the way they did this. Period, people. Look it up. Look it up. Look at that. I stand with Dexter Taylor. Look him up. Look up Dexter Taylor. If you haven't been following us, if you don't know the story, please, ma'am and sir, look it up. Don't take my word for it. Look it up. John said he pushed a lady in the face tonight. Yeah, and that's the reason, John, I say somebody. That's why I'm glad I wasn't down there. Because if he would have done that in front of me, you don't hit women. Look. I'm like this here. I'm old school. I'm old school like you wouldn't believe. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Well, she shouldn't. I know what y'all going to say. Well, she shouldn't have done blah, blah, blah to him. I don't play that. No, you just do not ever, ever put your hands on a woman. You just don't do it. You don't do it. So don't come at me with this, oh, she shouldn't have this and she shouldn't have that. You just don't put your hands on women. I'm sorry. You just don't do that. You can you can say what you want to me, that's fine. But I know the reason y'all gonna take up for him because he's out here causing havoc and doing stupid crap. People having a nice protest, and then you got this jerk out there doing what he's doing. And now I'm glad, like I said, glad I wasn't out there because I'd have knocked his ass out. You just don't put your hands on women. I don't care what you say. It just I see you putting your hands on her, I will flatten you. I will flatten you. You put your hands. I'm old school like that, man. Period, point blank. I know these days and times people think they should, knock women out and put men in women's sports and all this here type of crap. I'm just an old school type of guy, man. I'm a southern old school where that respect. And I know women shouldn't be getting you all mad and upset and giving you a reason to want to punch them and all this here type of stuff. Okay. I understand. I get it. Don't get me wrong.
With that, Remington.
All right. But, yeah. All right, we're back. You back? Are we here, Dex?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but, yeah. But but what I was talking about, Dexter, is the point that you don't see no black people. You don't see no black people out here,
right,
running up and down the street, screaming and yelling, even though they've done everything they possibly can do to get us out in these streets. And I'm telling them, period. I don't want to give this administration no reason, none, to go after African-American descendant of slaves. None. Well, I ain't stupid.
Here's the thing, right?
Go ahead.
Here's the thing. I mean, yeah, but my thing is this. First of all, like, okay, thinking about where I am right now, it's pretty obvious to me that no one needs an excuse to go after us. That's the first thing.
Did you whoa? Did you just said they didn't need an excuse to go after us?
No one needs an excuse to go after us, bro. I mean, come on, like the many of us.
No.
I'm just
true. No, I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
Many of our cities, right, and many of the blighted parts of our cities are young people running around, okay, assaulting people and busting their gun and so on and so forth. And it's like, I don't need an excuse to go after that. That's the first thing. So I don't, and I gotta be honest. Again, I think people again and again, Donald Trump is not your friend. Right? We don't have any friends in Washington, or in the State House, or in the mayor's mansion. None, zero. Okay. So, but the fact is, this has nothing to do with the federal government or with the executive in the White House looking for some reason to deploy federal agents to come and go after people who were born here. That's what I see at all. To me, the reason we shouldn't be out there is because, like, it's like that's not out there is not where you go if you have a problem with policy. That's my thing. In other words, let me put it clearer. It is entirely appropriate for some of us to look at any given policy and say, I do not agree with the government doing X. Okay? And whether that kind of thing has happened to quote unquote us before or not, to me it's irrelevant. Because I have a lot of people, for example, who came out and supported me in my time of trial, okay, who, they live in states where this kind of thing is not a problem. And they still came out to support, right? So I'm not going to say that we shouldn't because no. To me, it's very simple. You shouldn't be out there, getting in the cities of law enforcement officers because, first of all, that's not the way to get things done. If you have a problem with your policy, then the last thing to do is reason with the business end of the blunt instrument that's in front of you. That's what a law enforcement officer is. He's a blunt instrument. Who is wielding the instrument? That's what you have a problem with. I mean, and by the way, I guarantee, I don't guarantee, but a lot of the people who are out there talking that shit have never been at gunpoint.
True.
I have been at gunpoint.
Same.
In my house.
Well,
I somehow managed to play it cool. Right. I somehow managed to play it cool and come out of it in one piece. Okay? Without any needs on next, nothing like that. Okay? So my thing is, I'm looking at this not from a standpoint of should they or should they not be upset about a given policy. I'm looking at terms of like, listen, I do not want our young people to take the wrong lesson away from this. Because these political leaders, especially the ones on the left, were quick to say, oh, you need to do this. I remember Maxine Waters back in 2020. Oh, you need to get in their faces. You need to da-da-da-da-da. You need to walk up. We don't do any of that shit. Okay? The first thing is you need to get your ass off the street, okay, and hit the books and understand the law and understand and go through the channels that exist for us to petition our government for redress of grievances. But this 1960s get out there with signs and blowing whistles and doing that and all that street theater shit, okay, this is some bullshit that white liberals, right, are in love with for some reason when it comes to us and when it comes to things that are happening in our. When it comes to something else, somewhere else, they know perfectly what to go through channels. Right? When it comes to property taxes, or when it comes to the capital gains taxes and carried interest and this and that and what have you and margin percentages and the SEC, they know fully well, okay, how to bring their case against whatever the government is doing they don't like. But when they come to us, they want us to get out in the street with the young representatives. Of the young, dumb representatives of the progressive movement, yeah, and act a fool. And that's my problem. That's my problem. Because, again, I don't want our kids to take this lesson home at all. Do not get in your car and all these people around. And I'm saying, by all means, keep an eye on them. They're federal, they're armed bureaucrats. They're capable of error, right? If they're doing something wrong, we're supposed to go after them to wear them out through official channels. We have to open them with what instruments. It doesn't work like that. And that's what I feel. That's what I want. All young people, okay, but especially our young people, to take home. Do not follow this foolishness. By all means, again, petition your government to redress grievances. By all means, question whether or not a given order is legitimate, whether a warrant is legitimate, whether someone is following procedures to affect the rest of the serve a warrant. But by no means should we be following this foolishness. Because they don't care about our young people like we do. They don't. For that matter, I'm a kid reference. They don't even care about the Somalis or Venezuelans or whoever that the ICE is running down on. They don't care about them like that. For them, these people are political markers. That's all they are to them. Because if the left sees these people as full 360-degree human beings, they would realize that, wait a minute, well, Mexico needs people in Mexico to actually build Mexico, to make Mexico great again. Venezuela needs people to make Venezuela great again, make Honduras great again, make Somalia great again, and so on and so forth. But they don't think of them like that. They don't think of them as people who come from an actual place. They think about them as cheap labor. Oh, well, our Americans get old. We need people to take them up. Well, people, Somalis in Somalia also get old. Venezuelans in Venezuela also get old. Mexicans in Mexico also get. Who's going to take care of them? If we drain all the labor out of their country to save a few dollars here. But the left doesn't talk about that because they don't care about that because they don't see them as people. They see them as stories they can deploy to further an agenda. That's it. So that's my thing, and the fact that, we used to have the Chippewa boys. Every city where they had some kind of gang activity, they had to make some kind of special gang task force, right?
Right.
It's I guess or crash or this or the right. It's like okay. So that's just the shit that bureaucrats do when they're out of ideas, and bureaucrats are most of the time out of ideas. So that's, to me, that's a separate matter, right? The thing is, what to learn from this tragic incident is a tragic incident, And the thing is that, your willingness to scrutinize the government and ask hard questions, no matter which side you're on, is a resource. It's something we desperately need. That's such a to us living in a republic that's supposed to be a free republic. That's good that you question what's, again, if you like Trump, don't like him, doesn't matter. Question, don't like him, don't hate him, watch him. And watch the people who work for him. By all means, it's your government. That's a separate matter from all I'm around my SUV. And if they stop my car, I'm going to steal out. Don't do that. It's very simple. And to your point, don't be out there with signs and yelling and shouting and do all this thing. Don't do that. Go home. So it's not a racial thing. It's a common sense survival thing. And all of us should be interested because all of us want to survive. Feel me? So that's my take on it.
Right. No. And like I said before, I get everything you just said. I think the normal person with a mindset would get what you said, right? At the end of the day, when it's all said and done. And like I said, I'm looking at this from a point of view of going, we've got problems in our community that we need to take care of, that we need to be fighting for, we need to be doing this for, we need to make it happen. But then you got black folks, right? Because I said what I just said. That's what I said. That's my, when they ask me, when they come to me and they say, well, Rev, this about ICE and that about ICE, I say, what about the black community? I literally got black folks. Listen to me. This is true story. I'll show you right here. Here's one. If I can get that in there. Right wing talking. That I just got that. And what did I say before that? I said, I don't have time for that. I'm doing my best to make sure we don't have another black kid shooting another black kid, right? That's what's important to me. And because I said that, because a black person told me that because I care about black kids killing each other, it's a right-wing talking. See, this is the problem in the black community. You got knuckleheads, dingbats. See, these are the type people that I tell y'all are gatekeepers. If these black Negroes can get black people out on the streets tomorrow, they will get a paycheck. They will get a check. These are the type people that do every damn thing they possibly can do to keep the black community down. Because as long as they can keep the black community down, they get paid. If they can get black people out in these streets right now, they will find a way to get paid off the black pain. This is what I'm telling y'all. Y'all don't understand.
Yes,
this is what I have to fight.
Yes, they will.
I'm out here fighting in the streets, trying to keep these black kids from. Listen to me. True story. A 11-year-old boy. Listen to me. This happened. Right on Penn and 38th. At Fairview Park. A 11-year-old boy pointed a gun at a 16-year-old boy. The 16-year-old boy shot the 11-year-old boy. The 11-year-old boy ran across the street, got in a car. The car was trying to get him to the hospital. He bled out on the street. And this idiot, because I'm trying to stop that in my community, this idiot is going to say, I got right-wing talking points. You know why this idiot is trying to get me to shut up? Because I'm messing with this idiot's check. That's why.
Paycheck.
That's why.
He's one of them okey doke Negroes on the payroll. That's
anytime
right.
y'all see a black person coming at me, it's because I'm messing with their damn check.
With their bag.
With the bag. That's exactly what is the problem. Ain't never this person. This person right here ain't never called me up and say, Rev, look, this Christmas I put out that I was helping these kids. I was helping these families, right? All together, I got into a situation where I was helping another foundation pull in stuff for 29 families we actually helped. The so-called right-wing people that this black person hates, they helped black kids and black families. I got cards. I $250 on cards to give to black and white families. And this knucklehead, see, this is what pisses me off. When I get assholes like this, pieces of shit like this. Never. This person ain't never called me up and say, Rev, I know what you do. I know that you're down at Little Earth and you're helping those the indigenous people. I want to help you.
Right.
I got a family right now that's looking. Right. I got a family right now that needs a place to stay, and I'm looking for. This person ain't never called me up and say, Rev, I want to help you do this. Rev, I want to help you do that. But the minute I try to tell black folks that we need to stay in our community, that we got kids that can't read. Dude, I got kids in my Sunday school class. They are in the 11th grade. I can give my grandson who's in the 7th grade, I can give him the text that I'm going to use, the pamphlet that I use, and have him read it. I give it to these black kids, can't read a damn thing. But yet I got Negroes like this jerk piece of shit that's going to come on my page and talk shit. You can kiss let me bend over, because I got brown all over my ass, and you can kiss it all.
Hang on a second. Wait.
I'm pissed right now. No, I'm pissed.
Okay, so did you see this person in person?
No, I don't never see this jerk in person. I don't never see this asshole in person. I've said over and over, let's sit down. Let's sit down and have. Say again.
How you know what color it is?
I know what color it is. I know what color it is. Trust me. No, I know what color.
I'm asking.
You can tell what they because I know this person knows people that I know, and for you to know them, you have to travel in the black space that I travel in. So that's how I know this jerk piece of shit is black. There you go, right there. All of that. You can have all of that. And I know you watching.
But here's a question, Rev. Here's a question. Why is this one? I mean, first of all, this is one knucklehead among many. Why did he get you so upset? I mean, who cares what he thinks?
Why?
You know what I'm saying? Like,
why? I mean, because this jerk knows what I do, and they don't help me. If you don't help me, you can't criticize me. If you do nothing for your damn community, how in the hell are you going to criticize somebody who's on the streets at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning trying to get black kids off the street? so they don't go to jail, so they don't end up in juvie.
But
When
he was
you
never
don't
gonna
come
help
down to juvie
But he
with
was
me,
never gonna help you.
huh?
But he was never going to help you. Whatever. He was never going to help you anyway.
No,
Right?
True.
I mean, he was that person.
True.
In other words, if he had plenty of chances. If people know where you are, then they would have found you. Right? Online.
Everybody know where to find me.
He was never going to help you. Okay, so he wasn't right. That's what I'm saying. He was never going to help you anyway. So, yeah, this is. See, here's the thing. Like, for real, like, I'm glad when these people. To me, I'm delighted when people say dumb shit like that because it's like now we know who's who. This is great. This is fantastic.
No,
this is exactly
but
the right? Because it's like we want to know who's who. Right? That's my take on it anyway.
I'm going to criticize
a black.
I'm going to criticize a black man who want better for the kids in his community. I mean, make it make sense. Dexter, make it make sense.
So I said it doesn't make sense, but that's my point. It's like so that's one thing. I'm delighted when people like that speak up because you know something, we can know now we know who is who. That's great. That's fantastic. Thank you for your comment. Next, next person, right? It's serious. It's like that's what I'm like. I want all the people who, in other words, because it's not, you can't always tell by inspection who the okie dokes on the payroll. Sometimes they got to speak up. So wonderful. That was to me. That's a very inexpensive way of learning who that person is.
Yeah, I'm just looking at, you know, like I said, I'm looking at the situation of where we're in, right? And the
there's certain people who are on board with helping. Here's the thing.
Yeah,
there are certain people who are going to be on board with helping the situation. There's certain people who are on board with just the symbolism. And okay, it's easy for people to get on board with symbolism and with surface stuff because that doesn't demand anything of you, right? So again, I think at the end of the day, Rev, it's like there's always going to be very few people like you. That's how it is. Most people are going to be, this and that, and that. There's very few who are going to actually walk the walk because talk is cheap. Okay, this is supply and demand. Talk is cheap is a lot of it. Action is different because it's demanding. Because it's less action. Okay, that's the nature of it. That's life. You know, I'm glad. Let them speak up. It's just my thing is, you know, I don't want our young people listening to people who profess to be leaders, telling them, you know, like you and I both said, like telling them a lot of dumb shit, you know, to go in the streets and get themselves caught up in the mess. You know, as you said, we have enough of our problems.
I'm not having that. I'm not having that this go around, and that's why I go out to these protests. Yeah. I don't go out there like I tell people. I'm not out there. If you see me on camera, if somebody get a picture and they post it, and you sit there and go, "Well, look at Rev, he's out there protest." No, that's not why I'm out there. I let these people. Like I say, I let them protest. I let them do whatever they want. I don't care. That's not my worry right now. Now, my worry is to get 11th graders to read at 11th grade levels, not at 5th grade levels. Our black boys go from high school, not finishing, standing on corners selling dope. Those are facts. And when you say that, right? When you say that, then those are right-wing talking points. Wait a minute. When I go down Broadway and I get to the corner and there's a black kid standing there, how is that a right-wing talking point? That doesn't make sense to me. I'm telling you what I see with my... Go ahead.
But you're trying to reason with something that's fundamentally unreasonable. Of course it doesn't
ignorant.
make sense.
No, I'm talking to ignorant people, Dexter. Ignorant.
Well, hang on a second. Wait, let me back up a second. Not all of them are ignorant. So know that you're telling the truth. They don't listen. I've been in conversations with black folks, mostly kind of middle class, kind of progressive left black folks, right? They know that what I'm saying when I to them the same kind of stuff that you say, right? You know what I've had people say to me? I've had people say to me, to admit, so, well, yes, that's true, but we just can't say that because then the right will use that for ammunition. And I said, well, wait a minute. So you're saying that you can't admit the truth because your political adversaries might take advantage?
I don't give a damn what
I
the
said,
most of them people over there are just as ignorant as the people on the left. Those are facts.
Well, like I said, just because you see something ignorant doesn't mean you are ignorant. Listen, a lot of these people know perfectly well what they're saying. It's just like, listen, come on, Rev. Seriously, though. Like, look, mad people know that people cheat on welfare. And if you say it, they're going to make a lot of noise and get upset. That's right. We can talk more about it. But when people go home, in the solitude of their own homes or whatever, they know damn well that that's something that happens. Most people who get upset about this and that when we talk about welfare, like how can we have all these hungry people who are obese? Most people know that doesn't make a damn sense. But if you say it in public, they'll say, well, why did you? You've seen this before, right? People say, well, I said, well, Rev, I know you're telling the truth, but you can't air our dirty laundry this, that, the third. So this happens all the time. Some people are genuinely ignorant. A lot of people are functionally ignorant because they for whatever stupid reason, they find that they feel obligated to act as if they don't know anything. Even when they know exactly what's going on, what you're saying is the truth. People's senses are functioning. They can see the condition of parts of the city they drive through. They see what's going on. And the reason I'm making a point about that word is because I want people to understand that a lot of the people who have us caught in the midst like this, it is not for lack of knowledge, it's for lack of character. I'm not letting them off that easy saying they don't know. No, because if you don't know, I can't necessarily fault you for not knowing a fact. It's if you know a fact and you say the opposite, or you act as if that fact never occurred to you. You never detected that fact. That's a problem of character. You're not ignorant. You're a bad actor. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we have to be honest, Rev. That's what a lot of these cats are. These people who caught you in the streets, why are you doing this? Or who jump on your page or on your right and into your thing. It's like, well, Reverend, why are you saying that? They know this shit is true. They know. By the way, a lot of these people know perfectly well that you personally, Reverend Christopher, have been there and done that. You know this. They're not the ones going to crack houses to pull out teenage girls. You're doing that. They know, do they really think there's no teenage girls in crack houses? No. They're not so foolish as to assert that. But that's what you get. That's what I'm saying. That's what people get when they've aligned themselves. Instead of aligning themselves first with what is true and what is right and what is righteous, right? They align themselves with a party and the symbols of a party and the rhetoric of a party and the policies and the agenda of a party.
Yeah, I got into it with
somebody. You can't ever get good answers, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You can't get good answers that way.
You can't. I got into it with somebody. I used to go down to Rochester, Minnesota, to this gun club.
Mm-hmm.
And I overlooked a lot of things by going down there, because I thought most of them had an open mind. They had an open thought, and they didn't push a party's agenda. The worst thing that I think our problem is we got too many people pushing party agendas, whether it's a Republican or a Democrat, right? Instead of us coming together as people, right, and telling these people how to do their job, it's the other way around. They're telling us how they're going to do the job instead of listening to the people. And the reason and the way they can do what they're doing now is because we got too many people under the umbrella of some stupid-ass party. That's the problem. People want to try to figure out what's going on, what's the problem, why is this and why is that? Because we've literally said we don't want to worry about nothing. Y'all do everything. And they say, well, shit, we're going to do whatever we want. And that's what they do. instead of us,
Right.
the people, saying,
Well,
oh,
listen.
hell no. Y'all need to get together and get
Well,
this
listen.
gas price down, to get this bread prices down, to get the egg prices down. No, we give them all
You
the
have
power.
1 minute left.
We give them all the power in the world,
Well,
and they shit on us, and then we just sit there and take it.
Well, listen. First of all, that's not, when you say we, that's everybody. Because
Yeah.
the fact is, listen, here's other human nature. Thinking for yourself is difficult and dangerous. Thinking for yourself is difficult and dangerous. Okay? Actually, I just heard 1 minute warning. I'm going to drop and call back.
Oh, okay. All right. Keep that thought down.
Yep.
All right.
The caller has hung up.
All right, people. Dexter Taylor is in the house. We're kind of all over the place tonight because we didn't. I really did not write too much of anything down, so we're kind of scraping some of everything, trying to touch as many bases, I guess, on tonight as we possibly can. But the one thing that I want to say, if you're here in Minnesota, like I said before, I just want to make sure that people understand what I said, because I know how things can get, because I've been photographed a couple of times in places, and then somebody get that photograph and they swear up and down I was doing this or doing that. I am not marching for nobody. I'm not out here screaming at no cops. I'm not pushing no cops. My whole thing of all these protests, these places that I've been, is going out and basically saying to black folks, you ain't got no business being out here, because we don't. And I don't care what these other Negroes are saying to you. They want to check. People don't, a lot of people don't understand what I'm saying. When you get like George Floyd, right? The person I was just talking about, I'm sure they got paid off. A lot of black people walked out of Minneapolis. That's why I don't talk Black Lives Matter no more. When they first came here to George Floyd, I thought that group was going to do something. But they left here with a bag of money like you wouldn't believe. And not one dime came here to help anything about what's going on in the black community. Not one dime. And there were people here in Minnesota who did things and put money in their pocket, and they never tried to help this damn community at all. Those are facts. Now, if those are right-wing talking points, then let it be. But that is the damn truth, and they know it. And here's the problem. Again.
Vote your way.
Huh? But here's part of the problem. Are we back?
Yep, we're back.
Oh, there he is. But Dexter, again, here's part of the problem. Like when you start messing with these so-called black leaders and gatekeepers in the community, when you start messing with that bag, they will do everything they possibly can do to put you down, to get you out of the way, to shut you up.
Good.
And that's why I tell people, when you see my trolls on here, leave them alone. Don't mess with them, because what they want to do is they want to call you racist. They want to call you a right-wing this and a right. That's what they want. That's what they're betting on. But what their job is to shut me up.
Well, first of all, they can do that for any reason or for no reason. It's America. If they want to call you racist, they can. They're leaving an excuse to do it. They can just do it. That's the first thing. Well, like I said, going back to what we said before the break, right? It's like, look, thinking for yourself is difficult and it's dangerous work. It's difficult because thinking involves effort, and fact-finding involves effort, and reasoning from some moral set of moral axioms. Right? Believing in those axioms, that moral foundation, that moral hierarchy, right? And then reasoning with the facts you have based on that to come to some conclusion is hard. So once you've come to a conclusion, here's the thing. First of all, that conclusion is yours. It belongs to you. No one else is to blame. You arrive at that conclusion. And then, having arrived at that conclusion, you might feel compelled to act in the world. And having acted in the world, you might actually change something. You might actually accomplish something. And what you accomplish is now your responsibility. Now, not everyone is ready for that. Not everyone can carry that. Not everyone is enough of an adult to deal with that. It's easier, yeah, to just be like, well, I believe this because, I'm saying this because somebody else said it. I believe this because somebody else said it. I believe this because it's the opposite of someone I like said something else. I'm just believe the opposite. That's dumb too, right? And we know, you and I, Reverend, we know that for example, I can remember back in the Jim Crow days, you know what the big thing was? 1950s, let's say 50s and 60s. That's like Cold War era. So now the excuse became, like, if you have any problem, right, with the armed wing of the Democratic Party, aka the KKK, running around and violating people's rights and committing violence. So if you have a problem with that, okay, then you must be a communist. It's the same thing. People not thinking for themselves, not reasoning for themselves, based on moral actions. Like, how are you going to, like, everything, people, you don't blame everything on, you can give the socialists and the communists credit for everything decent? Yeah, I think Negroes and stuff have to have the vote, or you must be a communist. What? That's the sound of people not thinking out loud. Okay, so fast forward to today, same thing. You have people literally saying, federal law enforcement agents are not welcome in this city. What? What are you talking about? They're not thinking, bro. So I'm to all of it. I say yes to all of it. I'm in the radical acceptance mode. Come with the bullshit. By all means, say what you have to say. If you think I'm repeating Latin talking points, so be it. Okay. Want to call me this? Want to call me that? That's like, you're free to do all of that for any reason or for no reason.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Again, it is good for us when our adversaries show everyone how ignorant they are. It says how foolish they are, I should say. Right? It's good for us when they, because
that's true.
Them, they reveal themselves. This is wonderful. Right? We don't have to do detective work. I mean, I wish that every detective in the world was his job was this easy.
Right.
All you got to do is observe something and say what you observe and sit back and watch. And like anytime someone, you must be Reverend, because you're this and that. Oh, there we go, another one on the payroll. And we're the ones who are doing that, all that shit, right? And they're not even on the payroll. Well, you're not even getting paid for this. And you come there like, wow, so you're just stupid, So I'm delighted. When that shit happens, I'm delighted.
Well, let me show.
Let's have more of that.
Yeah, let me show you some love real quick. So, Doc J, he's locked on. He said, much love and respect to Dexter and Rev. Then he said, they want to provoke a reaction so they can play the victim. Hey, Doc J, every now and then. See, the one thing anybody will tell who knows me, who knows that I'm passionate about poor people. I'm passionate about the education of young black men because I see how bad it is. I'm passionate about that. Then Just Me said, thank you on here. And everybody who retweeted this puppy, I appreciate you all. Hawk Wolf did it. Roni is in the house tonight. He's on with us. We got Chief is in the house with us tonight also. And wait a minute, how did you get two? So we got a bunch of people who hanging out. But that's one thing. Anybody who knows me, anybody who's been around me, anybody who's dealing with me, knows where my passion lies. Right? I'm so passionate about it because I have hugged too many mothers. when they had to identify their kid by their shoes. And if you ain't never had to do that, you don't know what I'm talking about. I'm numb to it now, to the point that I know what I'm going to go do. I know what's going to happen. I know the reaction from the mother, so I can brace myself to what is about to happen. On my way, when I get a phone call, when they call me up and say, Rev, there's another shooting. There's another kid that's in the street. Especially if I get there before the mother. I get my head right. That's what I do. I sit, I get my head right. I completely just take the focus off everything that's going around, because I know what I have to do when that mother shows up. And I've done this so many times that literally I can literally tone out while she's going through what she's going through. That's what I do. But yet I got these baggers who will use that child's death to put money in their pocket. That is no joke. And those are the type people that gets up under my skin, because I know who they are. They are the snakes in the black community. That's who they are.
That's the thing. If you know who they are, and if you know their tactics, you shouldn't let them get under your skin. What's harder? What's harder? Dealing with a mother who just lost a kid and having to comfort that person, that family, or some troll on social media?
Well,
right behind his keyboard.
No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. No, you're right.
I mean, I know. Listen, I know what it is to feel a kind of way about people who are just basically faking it while you're doing the work. I mean, I feel the same. Listen, I feel aside from the fact that I despise these people's leftist politics. You know, I also despise a lot of my fellow who should be my fellow conservatives who are out there playing games and talking spicy and thinking they're accomplishing something. And, you know, I have put in the work for my conservative beliefs. Right. And I'm still putting in the work for my conservative beliefs. And I'm still sacrificing for my conservative beliefs. So I know what you mean, you know, and yeah, that's annoying, but at the end of the day, Rev, you know, the work is still the work.
Yes, sir.
That's the thing. The work is still the work. And every day you're going to wake up in the morning and do what you need to do and get out there and serve the people. And that's the important thing. I'm just tired of what I'm tired of is just every time something like this happens, you know, people, as you said, it's in some people's interest just to, you know, stir up trouble, to make, to create heat without creating light. That's a problem, you know. But those people, like the poor, we will have with us always.
Yeah.
That's just right. That's just the nature of it.
And a lot of people, what I've learned and I've come to see is, especially the people who swear up and down by the Bible. That's the part that gets me sometimes. Swear up and down about the Bible. And I sit there and I say to myself, are you not reading Matthew? Are you not reading Luke? Are you not reading John? Are you just not reading? You skip all of that, because in those tells you how to deal with poor people, how to deal with someone who is oppressed. And they fail every single time when it comes to that situation. And it floors me. Now let me say this here now. Before, if you'd have met me 15 years ago, I have to say, I did not. 20, almost 20 years ago. If you'd have met me almost 20 years ago, I would call myself, and I don't beat people up, because it took me a minute to truly understand the Bible. right? To really, where I can open the Bible, I can read a piece of scripture, and I can give you a sermon on what I just read. You know, period, point blank. I'm not saying everybody should be able to do that. What I'm saying is there's parts of that book that if you're going to act like you are reading it, that you are a Christian, there's serious parts in this book that you really need to read and understand. There's parts in that book that talks about works. And why is works important? Because it's part of what God asks us for. And you gonna get up there and you're gonna be like, "Oh, my name is not on there? Are you serious?" He going, "What'd you do?" Well, I told everybody that I was in love. I told some people. Well, Jesus told the lady at the well too. What did she do? She actually went back and did things. She talked about it, yes. She proclaimed him. She started living the very life he talked. So if you read the book and you don't live it, I'm just saying.
I mean, look, here's the thing. We're talking about things that are difficult and dangerous. That is effort. What you described doing is effortful. That's the problem. I mean, reading the words is easy. But, you know, in scriptures in general, especially the gospel, there's some things you have to actually wrestle with. It's not an easy text. It's as easy as any other thing to read, to you know, go down the page and recognize the words and that they have an order.
Hold on one, Dex. Remember that, because I just see Joe Lanou. Joe Lanou just retweeted. Yeah. And the next time I get in a space with Joe, because I keep telling Joe, I need him on here with us on a Sunday, man. I keep telling Joe Lanou. He knows who I'm talking about, too. I keep telling I need him on here on a Sunday with us. And he knows how to get in touch with. It's not like he don't know how to get in. It's not like he don't know how to get in touch with me, or he don't know how to get in touch with Corey. I mean Carl, not Corey. I ain't talking Corey today. Me and Corey are gonna have a fallout as soon as I see him. But
what you call it? Joe's a hard man to get on.
Yeah, I know. Joe's busy, man. I know. Joe got it. I just wanted to give him. I just wanted to pull his chain there for a minute. But I wasn't joking about coming on with us, Joe. That part I wasn't joking about when it comes to it. But so here's another thing. Like what I was talking about at the beginning of this, right? Because the indigenous people, the native people here in Minnesota, you don't ever see them in nothing. You don't. You don't. Every now and then, if something happened, they'll send probably about 9 people. They do these dances. They'll do like at George Floyd Square. They came down. They sent probably about 9 people, and they did these dances around George Floyd Square. And then after that, you don't see them no more. They're gone. Poof. They don't get into this stuff at all. There was a horse brigade today that rode to the spot to where this lady died. Then they rode all the way to Powderhorn Park. What I'm telling you is this situation has when you get the indigenous people. Here's the part that I don't think people understand, especially outside of Minneapolis, outside of Duluth, and now outside of Rochester. When you start getting certain people's ears perked, I would be worried as anybody who's running in Minnesota under the Republican ticket. I would be worried right now. Y'all don't know or understand what y'all have done. The bee's nest you have. When you get the Indians, the indigenous people, when you get them out in numbers too, that's the thing about it. They came out this time like I said, usually You see them for a few minutes, and then they're gone. It's like poof, where'd they go? But they showing up on horses. They're showing up in their dress. This is different, man. This is different.
But can I just push back on that a little bit? Look.
Sure. Go ahead.
I mean, look. First of all, you talk about Little Earth, that community, right? And you say that should be off limits. Okay, here's my question: why should it be off limits?
Because it's indigenous.
Because
there's nobody. No.
Okay, but wait a minute. If someone, okay, look, Rev. If a serial rapist hears through the grapevine that there's a part of town where the cops don't go, so he decides to go up in there because, well, I can keep my head down and not gonna. So if that serial rapist happens to not be in the country legally, and there's a federal warrant out, right? So, okay, well, yeah, this guy, we know he's not here legally. We have to run down on him and get him out of the country or whatever. Are you saying that ICE agents shouldn't go in the Little Earth part of town just because it's you know what I'm saying?
No,
like,
what I'm saying,
I'm not saying that. Like,
no, what I'm saying is, if you're going to go over there and you know for a fact that there's a serial rapist over there, you've got good intel, and you know exactly where he is, and you can go in, execute whatever you got to do, and get out. Sure. But you don't go over there rousing them people up. Don't go over. They went over there and they took people, indigenous people. That these are poor people, right? These are the poorest of the poor of Minnesota, poorest of the poor, and them people ain't over there shooting and killing nobody, and they ain't doing that. That's not happening. So what I'm saying is, if you got good intel that this knucklehead is over there, and you know exactly where he is, right, then go get him. But if you can't pinpoint him, don't go over there messing with and rousing them people up like that.
So here's the thing. But that's what I'm saying is I hear what you're saying, but what I'm saying is to me that's true. That's true across the board. Like, in other words, like law enforcement officers in general should not be randomly running down on people and kicking down doors and all that.
They're doing it here.
Words, I don't give. Okay, what I'm saying is the principle. Okay, I get it. What I'm saying is the principle is that they're not supposed to do that. Period. I don't care whether it's Little Earth or anywhere else. That's my point.
Right.
It could
Understood.
be New York as far as I can. That's what I'm saying. Right.
Yeah.
So
no, I get you.
You know what I'm saying? That's my thing. I'm like, and I don't know. Again, I don't have the information. Look, if I get the information that says that federal agents were running around in that community, right, running amok, right, not making up their own orders, yeah, and you know, and not trying to further a specific law enforcement objective, then that is a problem. Okay, and as I said at the beginning of this thing, it's like, you know, at any given time, yes, there may be several legitimate problems with A, what law enforcement officers are doing, and B, how they're doing what they're doing. And we're supposed to take issue with that as citizens, no matter who it's happening to.
Right.
That's my other point. But the thing is that those two are just distinguishing between that and, well, I'm going to get in my SUV, get in my car, and I'm going to follow feds around. And then provoke a kinetic situation. That's what that's the thing I take away from this situation that just happened. This shooting that just happened. It's like, you know, I don't hold the J.D. Vance position, right? Which is like, well, law enforcement is right just no matter what. No. Again, like I said, only one perfect man ever walked the earth, ever. Okay.
True.
Everybody else. They're just as full of it as I am. Okay, but again, there's a way to go about this stuff. Yeah, and by the way, I'll also say this: that, you know, I have an interest. We all have an interest in making sure that the people are here who are here in our country are here legally. You know, but I think arrest quotas, for example, are generally a bad idea. And it seems as if ICE agents have been operating under some kind of either formal or informal quota, right? Feels overwhelmed. We have to get 3,000 arrests a day, with this many arrests a day. I mean, I think that's a bad idea because law enforcement officers will cut corners because they're human beings. And so you shouldn't give them, perverse incentives to cut more corners, to just throw people in vans or what have you, to put hands on people. And it doesn't mean that Donald Trump necessarily has a specific problem with some specific person living on some street in some city. It does mean that that's the kind of thing that happens in government, right? That the guy on the top will say, "I want this to happen," and all the people under him, right, all the way up to the end of the one instrument, will take that and interpret that to where all of a sudden you're getting outcomes in the street that are not always squarely within law and procedure. So that happens too. And by the way, conservatives, if we're serious about being conservative, I'm talking to my conservative brethren out there right now. If we're serious about being conservative, then we have to be serious about being skeptical of government. Right? And obviously ICE agents are government, just like police agents are government. Every municipal government, ICE agents are federal. The same thing. They're an arm of government. And we should subject their actions to scrutiny, of course, and hard, tough, relevant questions. Absolutely. The thing we shouldn't do is get in our cars and follow these people around, and when we get detained, try to peel out all of a sudden. That's not a good survival strategy. And it's not even a good political strategy in terms of changing whatever policy, because at the end of the day, what is it going to change? Well, not much. And in any case, it's like we can get them. We don't require young women like I guess her name is Vanessa Good. We don't require her to give up her life to change a policy. That's not this kind of policy. That's not necessary. We recognize that the statute exists, right, and that entering this country is a crime. Okay. Which we differ on matters of procedure and tactics and so on and so on. Okay, so let's talk about that. Let's hold our government to account. But that other stuff, yeah, I'm not for it. No. Yeah, but the left likes street theater. I mean, they do. They do like that. Like I said, I'm just not with that.
Yeah. So they just got to watch. They got to be careful, in what they're doing. They tonight apparently I watched a couple of videos where they're over in South Minneapolis kicking in doors. Literally kicking it. I mean, it's on video where they literally, like I say, they do kick the door in to go into this one family's home and things of that sort. So,
I know what that's like.
Of all people, yeah, you do.
Yes,
I thought they used a battering ram. I thought they used a battering ram to come through your door.
Same thing. Battering ram, whatever. I mean, the door got busted. I'll tell you that. And they was inside. Okay, so, it's like, again, and this is the thing. I don't want to minimize, again, look, if our government, right, is doing wrong, right, then in the pursuit, even in the pursuit of legitimate law enforcement objectives, right? If our government is doing something wrong, if our government is doing something wrong, then we have to take that matter up. We just even have to take that matter. We can't just dismiss it because we have an immigration problem. No, I'm not with that at all. Okay, I'm just talking about how we take that up. And also, we have to remember that many of these Democrats who run cities like Minneapolis, okay, had a specific interest in violating federal law. have had a specific interest in bringing lots of people to this country, no matter what, and settling them in a certain place, right? And making them clients of the government instead of productive citizens. Are there productive citizens who came here from Somalia or elsewhere? Of course not. Are there people who came here from Somalia and had kids who grew up and went to trade school or med school or whatever, law school? Of course there are. That is not the question. The question is, what is actually happening to us? Why is this, why is this going on? Well, it's going on because we have a number of people who, and by the way, you mentioned gatekeepers early on. Yeah, a lot of these folks on Twitter, they want to talk about gatekeeping. It's like, bro, you can't even gatekeep the money that's supposed to stay in your state and help your people.
Yeah.
How many billions of dollars
that part,
right? How many billions of dollars went overseas?
Well, let's
can't even gatekeep that.
Well, let's talk about it, because if you, because like I said earlier tonight, when I said nobody wants to talk about the real reason why ICE is even in Minnesota right now, right?
There you go.
Trump said, and what he said was point blank. Matter of fact, I even posted it back on my Get Up because I wanted everybody to listen to what the man said. Way before ICE got here, Trump said that the ICE was coming here for the Somalians. That's what he said. I know people now they want to act like he didn't say that. But that's what he said. Operation Metro Surge was for the Somalian community. Trump said it. And then once they got here, what happened was, Dexter, is once ICE got here and start rousing up all of the Somalis and messing with them and going down to...
You have 1 minute left.
You know what? I'll get you on the backside. I'll get you on the backside.
No, we gotta call it because we gotta make this the last segment because I still gotta call my people.
Okay. All right.
Call my folks tonight.
All right. Yeah. All right. Then go ahead and you can go ahead and sign off and okay, got you. I thought I had you like I usually do.
Nah, I gotta sign off before the 11 o'clock cutoff.
Okay.
But yeah, bro, it's always good to talk to you. Always
yes,
good
sir.
to be with you, chopping it up. Stay strong, keep the faith, keep doing that work out there in the streets. We need you. We need you out there. We need you out there.
Appreciate you.
Our people need you. Really, America needs you. That's just how it is. All right, bro.
I'll see you next Sunday.
All right, brother, man. Take care.
God bless. All righty, bye now.
The caller has hung up.
Yes, sir. That was Dexter Taylor. We didn't have him. Usually, he has to call his daughter and his mom and everyone. Usually, we sit on this thing for upwards to 2 to 3 hours, talking and going over things and what is going on with Dexter. And I thank each and every one of you guys for hanging out with us on a Sunday and giving Dexter an opportunity to come on and just talk. Like I said, I try to do it so Dexter is not, because like I said, I'm sure many of you have never been in prison for no reason, right? I'm just saying, for no reason. I was a prison minister for 10 years, and I would have to go into the prisons and turn over my phones and wallets and everything. And it was almost felt like I was being processed in. And if you've never been inside the prison, when those doors shut and you hear the clanking and all, it just does something to, even though I knew I was getting out, even though I knew that when I was done in the prison, they were going to open the door and let me out. But the whole time I was in there, dude, it was a total different feeling. And guys that I talked to that was in there would always say the same thing, especially the guys that didn't have money to talk to, get on the phone and talk to family and stuff. And they always say how it just makes you mad. It gets to you and pissed. So this is one of the reasons why we do this with Dexter. And we do everything we possibly can do to get his story out there. We want people to know that this man is sitting in prison right now for something that the Second Amendment gives us every single right to do. And because New York is full of those type people, he's in prison. And they're making him do 10 years. He could have took a plea. That's another thing. He could have took a plea. Doc said the anger in that place, right, in that environment, is palpable. It is. It is something. If you have never, I suggest y'all go to prison. No, I'm just joking. Y'all. I don't want you to go to prison, but let me give you a little update again on certain things that are happening here in Minnesota. And like I said, what I've been doing is I've been to all the protests. All of them. Every place you probably turn on your TV to see, I have been to every single one of them. If there's a gathering, I am going because I want to see this one with my own eyes again. Because so what happened during George Floyd? So I would be down on George Floyd Square, or I would be down on First Avenue, or I would be down on Hennepin Avenue, or down on Plymouth, or down on Blaisdell, or somewhere where there was something going on. And I'm seeing one thing with my eyes, right? And then I get home, especially Fox News. Fox News was the worst. No, it was and I know y'all love Fox like crazy. But Fox News was the worst that I saw reporting on the situations that was going on here in this state that I saw with my own eyes on the news to give to you. So if you didn't live here, number one, and even if you lived here, if you wasn't on grounds, if you didn't see it happening, see it going down, you would believe what the mainstream media told you. And I'm telling you, point blank, I watched it myself. The reporting from Fox News was probably the worst I've ever seen. They literally saw the same thing I saw, but came in and gave you something totally different. A total slant towards what they wanted you to hear. And this is why I say America is being lied to. It's just like Kristi Noem. Kristi Noem stood there in front of everybody and said point blank, in all of these videos that has come out, you know what we have not seen? We have not seen the ICE agents pushing a vehicle out of snow, which when I went down there, I showed you, if you follow me and y'all saw me down there, I showed you there was no snow. But Kristi Noem said that this ICE agent, this is what she said. Go look it up. That these ICE agents were pushing a vehicle that they got stuck. And this lady, this is what she said. This lady used her vehicle to try to ram them, right? Am I telling the story correctly, or did I hear her say something different? This is what I'm telling you, people. But you know what I've also learned? Also, there are some people who just like to be lied to. I'm not kidding. A couple days ago, I come on here, I put on my get up, peaceful protest. I got people who got mad at me for posting that the protest that I was at was peaceful. I got this knucklehead here in Minnesota. He's a right-wing influencer out of Buffalo, Minnesota. is dying. I mean, he's literally just you know how I tell you that there are black folks who want to get this influencer that ain't never really been downtown, ain't never been to Minnesota, been to Minneapolis at all. This is what he's hoping for because he gets paid. Manufactured anxiety and outrage. That's how he get paid. People make money off of misery, people. Whether it's on the right side or on the left side, they both make money off of misery. They get paid. This is how they get paid. This is how they pay their bills. So they want riots. This knucklehead that went down, this Nick Sorrell, whoever he is, that knucklehead that went down to the federal building down there causing trouble. This is how he gets paid. Because you guys are going to go to his page and you're going to see him pull a mask off somebody and you're going to repost that and you think it's cool that he's down there agitating people and he gets paid. And then people are going to get pissed off and get mad about what goes on, what he's doing, and a brick's going to get thrown. And something's going to hit one of the ICE agents. And then pepper spray is going to go off. And then people are going to be running around and crazy things are going to be happening. And then people are going to get upset. And when people get upset, things get broken. He's down there causing trouble for that reason. So he can get paid. He wants Minnesota to burn. There are people who want fires to happen. They want stores to be looted. But the problem is, like I said before, I said this a couple of nights on one of my other lives. And I explained to people why you don't see the George Floyd type situation going on. Because I'm just telling you what I feel when I'm out in the streets. You felt George Floyd happening. You felt it. That George Floyd was anger. Literally, it was anger. This isn't anger. This is people are upset. This isn't anger. If this was anger like the George Floyd, burning buildings would be going up right now. If this was anger like George Floyd, they broke it. Watch this here. And this is what another thing that cracked me up, how they wanted riots so bad. So they was going downtown, and we got this place called Macy's, which is closed down. It's completely empty. There's nothing in there. Some knucklehead kicked the door in. It used to be a department store. Some knucklehead kicked the door in, and they went into this building, Macy's. There's nothing in there. And they swear up and down that was a riot. Oh, they're right now. They're rioting. They're in this building. I mean, they're look at this. They're in. There's nothing in there. It's an empty building. And some knucklehead kicked the door down. Kicked the door in. Everybody went in there and jumped around and was taking pictures. But then if you ever see the video, I want you to see the two guys that are pushing everybody out. Because they don't want that to happen. They don't want that to start. They don't want that to go on. They don't want that. That's not what this is about. So I said that, right? I literally said that. I got somebody got mad at me and said, "Oh, well, I disagree with you." They got mad at me because I described what I saw, what I feel, what the temperature I get when I'm out on the streets dealing with people. This is not George Floyd. I know people right there, this could be George Floyd 2.0. It's not. People are not angry like that. They're not. When George Floyd happened, I got the phone call. They called me up, Rev, we need you to come down on Broadway first, right? It's first place. And here's the funny, but no. I got to give you, for those who don't live here in Minnesota, I got to give you this here part first, right? So Minnesota hates, black guns, black rifles. They hate what they call assault rifles. Hate them. They're trying to get rid of them. They're trying to ban them. Correct? But when the riots was going on, when they couldn't control nothing, when the police couldn't control, I get a phone call. Rev, you got to get down here on Broadway. They're tearing up. They're going through. They're this. So I made a phone call. I called up some people. I was like, look, I need some guys who has their license, who has their insurance, who can come down North Minneapolis on Broadway with me, and we take care of the neighborhood. We walk around. Oh, they were fine with me scrapping my AR-15 across my chest and got my 45 on my hip. They didn't have a problem with that, with us walking up and down the street, walking up and down Broadway. Matter of fact, not only did they not have a problem with that, but at the time, Chief Arredondo of the police department pulled up on us and asked us if we need something. I was like, no, Chief, we good. Appreciate you, but go on back over there. We don't need you over here. The police chief did that. And we walked around for nights. For nights, we walked around. I had my AR-15 straight across my chest during George Floyd. To making sure that the Walgreens, they didn't break into Walgreens, so the elderly people can get their medicine. They didn't break into the Cub Foods, so the elderly can make sure that they can get, because there's an elderly high rise right down the street from all of this here, and they can wheel their little chairs down there and get their medicine. That's what we was down there to do, to protect those buildings so them knuckleheads wouldn't go in and do that. I had no problem then. They had no problem with my black AR-15. This is not, Rev, can you come help us and bring your black AR-15 time? It's not. It's not like that. It's not like that. And I don't think it's going to get like that. They are protesting peacefully. And a lot of people don't like that. The only thing that I have seen, and you're going to have your skirmishes, because I don't know if you ever, I know if some of y'all ever been to a protest. Trust me, I've been to a lot. It's in my blood. My grandfather, I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. And when my grandfather was striking with the garbage people, so a black man can get the same pay as a white man for picking up the same damn garbage can, that's what it was. My grandfather got bit by the sheriff dog when he was protesting. So it's in my blood. Trust me, I like a good protest. Don't get me wrong. Don't ever get me wrong on that. Because I believe that when the protest is the voice of the poor, it's the voice of the unheard. And if I go to my Carl was still on the phone. Oh, I was going to talk to Carl. If I go to my legislators and I say I got problems and you don't want to hear me, which is what happens here in Minnesota, on both sides, Republican and Democrat, I can prove that. But if I go to my legislators and they don't want to hear me and they don't want to listen to me, and I get 200 people and we go up and down the street, it is what it is. It is what it is. Because we all don't live that happy life the way some people get it. But at the end of the day, I don't believe there's going to be a George Floyd 2.0. So for all of those news broadcasters and even some of the people on here who is dying and hoping and praying that this thing blows up, I just don't. I don't. If it does, it's going to be from an outside agitator. But I've seen in these here dust ups people actually calming down the people who usually and here's another reason why I said I don't think it's going to get crazy, because the professional protesters are not out there. The professional, the ones who, like I said, when you hear the call, and what the call is, if someone says whose streets, and then the people have to go our streets. So that's called the call. So when you hear the call, those professionals are not the ones that are leading this thing. No, we have professional leaders of protest here in Minnesota, and they are good. Look at George Floyd. Look what happened to George Floyd. Look at what. Matter of fact, watch this here. And here's what I also think is pretty funny, that we never talk about Justine Diamond. For y'all who don't know who Justine Diamond is, let me tell you. So Justine Diamond was this white woman that called the police, and for some reason, I don't know, maybe from where she's from, they are allowed to walk outside and not let the police come to them. So she comes outside and she walks up to the police car and bangs on the back of the police car with the police sitting there talking to each other, waiting to go in. So she hits the back of the police car, right? After so they drive up, they have to think and look for a suspect. She hits the back of the car, and then she goes to the passenger side of the police car. So Officer Noor reached across the passenger, his partner, and shot her. Was that wrong? I believe so. Should he go to jail? He did. Her parents, I marched in two. I marched in two protests for her. Her parents went to Black Lives Matter, Minnesota, and St. Paul. We got two chapters here. And the Black Lives Matter, Minneapolis and St. Paul put together a protest march for her. We shut down at university from St. because university you can take university and that'll take you to St. Paul and that'll take you to Minneapolis. We shut that down. Shut it down. Marching to make sure she got justice for Justine Diamond, a white woman. See, y'all don't know about that because nobody ever tells y'all about that. White Lives Matter didn't show up that day to march for this here white woman. I'm just saying. Black Lives Matter did. A lot of black people marched for this white woman to get justice. That happened right here in the state of Minnesota. Look it up. Look it up. Everybody showed up. A lot of people was out there. Hmong showed up. Vietnamese showed up. Some even though the guy who shot the woman was some of the Somali community showed up. The Mexicans showed up. Black people showed up in big time. White people showed up also. Liberal white people. But we didn't see White Lives Matter nowhere in there at all. It was like, where's White Lives Matter? They didn't even show up for this lady. But yet they show up online all the time. But yeah, we marched for that white lady. We got that white lady $20 million. The highest payout ever in the state of Minnesota. Those are facts. So yeah, I if we're going to march for the right thing, I'm all for it. I'm not for rioting. I'm not for them. That's why when it turned to the riots, and that's another thing a lot of people don't even know either. And this is why I said earlier when I said Fox News was the worst there were peaceful protests going on all over the city. You never saw that. I never saw the peaceful protest during George Floyd on Fox News. I saw it on CNBC, MSNBC. Is it MSNBC? I saw it on that. I saw it on a couple of other stations. But on Fox News, I never, not one time. Every time you turn on Fox News, they was picture perfect burning something. Something's on fire. Somebody's running and cops are chasing them and tear gas and tyranny going on. Somebody was leaving the store has been looting. That's all you saw. But there were peaceful protests going on during George Floyd. I know that for a fact because I was in a couple of them. I was also down when the police station went up in flames. Down there when that happened. We marched that day, we marched from 31st, Chicago and 31st, all the way down there. So what I'm telling you, people, is I can honestly say, sitting here right now, the mainstream media will lie to you, and they have lied to you. It's a cordon if you want to stop and say, there's a middle here. It's not always to the right, and it's not always to the left. Seriously, this is what I've learned. It's in the middle, people. Doesn't matter how extreme you are this way or extreme you are this way. At the end of the day, I'm telling you what I know. It's right down the middle. It's right down the middle. JP, what's happening? JP fire. The George Floyd was amplified by COVID lockdown and a lot of people with nothing to do but protest. Yeah. But again, like I said before, I agree with that. I can go with that. But what a lot of people don't understand is what led up. In 2019, I sat at the state capitol here in Minnesota, and I testified in front of the Republicans and in front of the Democrats in 2019. And I told them point blank, I said, something is about to happen. I said, but I need a few people to give a damn. If we give a damn, maybe we could stop. Maybe we can stop what's about to go on. Because it was thick. People don't understand if you're not in the streets, if you've not been around the streets, if you don't understand, what happens is things start happening. A lot of stuff starts happening in the streets, right? And like George Floyd Square, okay? There was a time when 38th in Chicago, let's call it, so before it was George Floyd Square, it was 38th in Chicago, correct? And there was a time when you can, all around it, businesses, it was great. You can go down there, you can have a good time. There was no problems, zero problem. There was no drug problems, there was nothing. See, and so this guy, Rick, and the reason I'm naming Rick Kupchella is because Rick Kupchella did this little hit piece. That's what I call it, because it was bull crap, total bill crap. And I'm going to show you why. But there was a time you could go down on 38th in Chicago, walk around, you can do whatever you want. And there was no problem. There was nothing to be afraid of. And then 38th in Chicago start changing. And the reason 38th Chicago start changing is because of the slumlords that lived around there. They knew the people who was moving into that community. They knew it. The stores and the business, they also saw what was happening to that community. Everybody knew, people. They all knew how that area was changing. So when George Floyd went down there, we all knew what he was down there for. I mean, it was no secret to nobody. It was no secret to nobody. Because we all knew what was down on 38th in Chicago. The business owners knew what was on 38th in Chicago. The people who owned the apartment buildings around 38th in Chicago, they knew the type of people they started renting to. And when that clientele moved into that community went downhill. That's what happened. And all of the riffraff start coming around. That store, that Super America, that on the corner there. There was a time you can walk in that store and nobody bother you. Then you couldn't get in the parking lot and you had people trying to sell you drugs. Open air drug sales all up and down the street. I mentioned this dude, Rick Capcella. He's a newscaster. Well, that's what he was. He's trying to be this journalist here now. He did this story on that area over there, and he left so much out. He had one of the landlords that was said point blank. The landlord said in that piece how the drug trafficking, how the drug area, how they would drive up his street and sell drugs, get drugs right there. He said it on tape. But see, what Rick Capcella did not do, which pissed me off, is ask that man that was standing right there who owned building after building after building, why did you start renting to those type of people? Why? Because you opened the door to the way this community looks right now. You did that. Those are facts, people. The business owners who were down there, who would not and did not call the police when they was selling drugs in their door. Cup Foods, the place that George Floyd went. There's a reason George Floyd was in that place. There's a reason. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on here, people. Y'all just don't see. And the news don't tell you. They give you a little bit, or they give you what they want you to have. And that's what you got to drink. But y'all don't get to hear behind the scenes. You don't get to hear the things that goes on in the streets. So leading up to George Floyd, that community had changed. Things had gotten bad over there. Real bad. And in 2019, I told the Republicans and I told the Democrats that it was bad. It's on video. That's how I went. That video, that went viral. When I testified, that went viral. Because I told them it was going to happen. Yeah, I'll admit, people being stuck in the house and all that. But you could feel George Floyd happening. And what people don't understand, a lot of people still are upset that they think George Floyd is the hero, right? That's how people see it. George Floyd is a black people hero. No, he's not. No, y'all don't understand. So let me break this here down real quick. So there was this guy, his name was Philando Castile. And Philando Castile was murdered. Live. This cop in his head said that this black man who told him he had a firearm would shoot me with his girlfriend and his baby in the backseat. Now, who's that stupid to have a shootout? Think about it. No, I want you to think about that for a second. Who's that stupid that they're going to have a shootout after I told you I have a firearm? Cop, I got a gun. And now I'm going to take this gun with my girlfriend in the passenger seat and my baby in the back seat. Now I'm going to take this gun and I'm going to have a shootout with you. That is ignorant. But that cop that murdered Philando Castile got off. Y'all let this yeah, you did. You let this murderer go. He murdered a black man in front of his girlfriend and his baby. And y'all let him go. Philando Castile was the guy. He was. That was the guy. That was the George Floyd. But you know what happened? The gatekeepers of the community was like, settle down. Everything's going to be okay. This time it's on tape and it's going to work out. This cop is going to kill. We don't have nothing to worry about. Yeah, we walked the streets. We protested a little bit and screamed and yelled. We shut down 94. Completely shut it down. And for people who don't know what 94 is, that's a major highway here in Minnesota. During rush hour. Shut it down. People was pissed, upset, crazy. Shut it down. And I know people, well, what about if an ambulance or something? Or you had people trying to get to the daycare and get their kids out of daycare. Oh, well. Y'all let a murderer off. If you cared about people in daycare, you would have put that murderer in jail. But you didn't. So we had to let this black man's death go. We had to sit back and do nothing. People was mad. Then you had the Minneapolis police beating up on a couple other black people and all this here type of stuff. So people's upset now, pissed off. Police brutality. People's yelling police brutality. White folks, oh, there ain't no police brutality. Gang task force jumping out, grabbing black folks, just throwing them in the back of things, putting them in trunks. That's not police brutality. Oh, we didn't see it. Then when we show it to you on film, you go, well, he should have complied. Black people just pissed, upset, mad. And then George Floyd happened. Boom. The powder keg was lit. And there was no way to put any of the gunpowder back in this keg. That wasn't happening. It was out, and nobody knew what to do. The officials didn't know what to do. The police didn't know what to do. The city council didn't know what to do. The city's so-called leaders didn't know what to do. The leaders in the black community had no clue what to do. Nobody knew what to do. But stand back and watch it happen. So George Floyd isn't the hero y'all think that he is in the black community. George Floyd got 4. Y'all gave up 1 for 4. That's what happened. If I guarantee you, I can promise you this. If that cop that killed Philando Castile, if that cop had went to jail like he was supposed to, Derek Chauvin wouldn't be in jail today. No, I can guarantee you that. Because we all knew who George Floyd was. Don't get y'all. I don't want y'all to sit here and think that black folks walking around here thinking and acting like George Floyd was some angel. He was not. Period, point blank. I'll tell you that. I have no problem telling you that. We knew who George Floyd was, but you know what George did? He got 4. You know why he got a bench? Because he got 4. You know why he got George Floyd Square? Because he's got 4. That's the truth, people. It ain't that it has nothing to do with George Floyd. What? Nothing to do. So y'all can put them little emojis out there with them little pictures out there. I seen one picture where there's a big pill on George Floyd's neck. And y'all use George Floyd, when you got something, y'all use it. That's why black people laugh. That's why we sit there and go, we got 4. If y'all want to make fun of George Floyd, you want to sit there and go, oh, well, he overdosed and him. Okay. That's one thing I've never said. I've never said nothing. I pretty much said nothing about his death. But black folk, it ain't about it. It's never. It's you guys, white folks. It's about George Floyd. Not only that, watch this. That Dante Wright, Katie Potter. If I guarantee you, if y'all have gave that white cop up, the Mexican cop that shot Philando Castile, I guarantee you, Katie Potter is the lady who thought she pulled her taser, but she pulled a gun and shot and killed Dante Wright. I guarantee you she wouldn't have went to jail. So because of one cop, watch this. True story. Y'all can debate it all you want, but here is the deal. One cop, Philando Castile cop, that cop should have went to jail. But because y'all decided, the white folks here in Minnesota, that cop, it was okay for that cop to kill that man with his girlfriend and his baby in the back seat. That was okay. Derek Chauvin and the other three, jail. Katie Potter, jail. All over one guy. That's a fact. So when y'all are laughing at George Floyd and y'all putting out his what is that his medical records and reports, and you're showing that maybe Derek didn't have his knee on his back, and oh, he took the drug. We all saw that. I saw it with my eyes, and everybody here saw it. George Floyd put dope in his mouth. Yes, he did. He swallowed. We don't know how much dope. Yes, he did. We all know that George Floyd had problems with his heart. We don't give a damn. Y'all can keep talking about that crap all you want. You know what we know? George Floyd, 4. That's what we know. 3 of them already did their time pretty much. Don't give a damn if he swallowed dope. I don't give a damn if he did or he didn't have a $20 bill. That's not what it's about. And it's not even about the bench, the statue, the fist, the colors, George Floyd Square. He's celebrated because he got 4 cops. Not because of who he is, not because of what he did, not because he died, because he got 4 cops. That's why he's celebrated. Y'all missing the point. Y'all don't get the point. You don't understand. That's why it doesn't piss us off when you making jokes and when you say this and you doing that. It ain't pissing nobody off. 4 cops. And Katie Porter is 5. If you want to count her for Dante Wright. Because one cop got off. Those are facts, people. Those are facts. But that situation was happening, and we saw it happen. Because it was just so bad. The Minneapolis, another thing. And I know people don't like doing this, but go read the DOJ report. And I know people always talk about, the DOJ is crap when it's crap when they put out a report, especially about the police. But the DOJ is right on time when they put out a report about a black man. Those are facts. Like I told you, if you're going to come here, you're going to get the truth. You may not like it. Oh, well. But I want you to go read the DOJ report that they did of the Minneapolis Police Department. Because if y'all think that the Minneapolis Police Department, it was like your police department in your community, you're out your mind. Go type in DOJ report, Minneapolis Police Department. Doc J said, hell, I was mad about Philando, and my white ass wasn't within 2,000 miles of there. Right? That's what I'm telling you, Doc. I'm just saying that. That's the part, every time I got into an argument with someone about Philando Castile, I sit there and I ask them that question. Are you telling me that you believe that this black man would get into a gunfight with a police officer, with his girlfriend in the passenger seat and his child are you serious? I kept telling them, really think about that for a second. Are you going to sit there and tell me you really believe that? Not only that, but there was another cop on the other side on the passenger side of this door. When this cop decided that he's going to light off into this black man. And y'all let this cop go. And we watched it live. That was live. That was a shooting. It wasn't it wasn't 8 seconds on somebody's neck. That was literally murder on camera. And they said not guilty. Not guilty. I stopped carrying my firearm for almost 2 months after that. Because I'm sitting there going, if they going to shoot this kid, if I get stopped and I sit here and go, yo, officer, because I know you can look it up. I ain't stupid. Even though in Minnesota, we don't have to tell the police that we have a firearm. We don't have to say that. But I'm not stupid enough to sit here and believe that they can't look it up and realize that I got a firearm, and the next thing I know, the cop's coming back going, do you got a firearm? Don't reach for it. Bam, 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 bam. Dead black man. Because that's what they did to Philando Castile. And that cop got off. He walked. Well, as far as we're concerned here in Minnesota, George Floyd isn't a hero because he died. George Floyd is a hero because he got 4 cops. So, again, that's why you don't see black people get mad when y'all put all those George Floyd jokes out there. Okay, because we knew who he is. We knew who he was. That wasn't a secret here. If you're down on 31st in Chicago and you got counterfeit money, and we know what you're breaking that counterfeit money for, because I can go buy a stick of gum for $1, and I get my change back, and then I can get $5, and that gives me 3 rocks. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So we all knew. Wasn't a secret. So George Floyd isn't the hero y'all think he is for the reason you think he is. That's not why he's the hero. Not here. Maybe in somebody else's town, maybe around somebody else. That's not why he's the hero. Anyway, hey, fam, I appreciate you guys. It was nice hanging out with you. Like I said, we had Dexter with us in the whole 9. I think Dexter and I pretty much covered everything. I covered the all of the protests. I covered what ICE is doing here, and they're wreaking havoc. I like I said before, they're wreaking havoc like crazy around here, to the point where the Mexicans won't even come out. Literally, all the Mexican restaurants, you don't see nobody in them. My understanding, they was down in South Minneapolis now, just literally kicking doors in. I mean, I was just watching a video just now, a little bit ago, when Dexter was on, of them literally kicking doors in. So I don't know if they know where these people are, or if they're just going, let's take a guess, that house. That looks like Mexican and Latino people live there. But the funny, like I said, the funny part about this whole situation is the reason Trump sent these people here was Operation Metro Surge. He sent them here because he thought he was going to get all of these Somalians. That's what he thought. And then he got here and realized that they're U.S. citizens. You can't, I'm sorry, but you can't kick them out. You can't. You can't kick them out. So all this fraud that's going on and what they have done, and so y'all keep an eye on Minnesota, and we're gonna see if anything's gonna change. But I look at this whole thing and call it a forest, and I'm gonna tell you here real quick, and then I'm gonna be gone. Why I call it a forest? We had a state representative here. His name is Jason Lewis. In 2018, Jason Lewis was in Washington, right? And the same thing. So in the same thing that the so-called 3 Republicans, which I'm laughing about now. So the 3 Republicans who went to Washington on Monday to testify. Jason Lewis did this in 2018. See, and y'all think this stuff is new because the Republicans are running around here trying to act like, oh no, this is new. They're lying. See, here again, when I talk about lying and people lying, the Republican Party here in Minnesota told y'all a lie. They knew about this fraud. In 2018, Jason Lewis sat in front of Congress. And guess who was president? Trump. But Jason Lewis sat in front of Congress and told Congress about the suitcases of money that was leaving here out of Minneapolis St. Paul Airport. Jason Lewis told Congress about the welfare fraud. He told them about the daycare fraud. He told them about the Medicare fraud. He told them about all of this. Everything you're hearing about right now, did y'all think this kid Nick Shirley came in and uncovered, which is a damn lie? Jason Lewis told us about it in 2018. The Republican Party here in Minnesota knew about this in 2018. The Republican Party here in Minnesota put together a fraud investigation committee at the Capitol where they met, I think, like every Thursday, and they talked about the very fraud that is going on here in Minnesota. They knew about the Feed Your Future situation. The white lady, Amy Bach, who is now in prison for being like the head ringleader, which I don't believe she is. I think there's some people above her. And they got some Somalian people, and they put them in jail for lying and said that they was feeding 3,000 people a day, 3,000 kids a day in a place that only holds 50 people. Do the math. So what I'm telling you people is if you sit back and you think that the donkey won't lie to you and the elephant won't lie to you, you crazy. You crazy. Because if you in here in Minnesota, you ain't heard the Democrats talk about this fraud at all. At all. at all. You don't hear about it. I'm not joking when I say that. You don't hear about it here. And people wonder, why ain't people talking about it? We just don't talk about it. We heard about it in 2018, 2019, 2020 when we heard about the food situation, 2021, 2023, we heard about it. By the time 2025 rolled around, people were sick of hearing about it. Once the Republican put that little fraud thing together that didn't have no power. See, hold on. I know I say I'm gonna leave y'all alone, but every time I do, something pops up. So the Republicans put together this little fraud committee that had no power. They couldn't call nobody in. They couldn't subpoena nobody. They had no power. So they just sat around talking about it. They couldn't do anything. There's nothing they could do. They can't call the head people. They can't call people witnesses and names. They can't do anything. They just sat around this room talking about it. Oh, true story, man. So that's why I tell y'all, Nick, I don't know what the Republican Party paid Nick to come in here. I have no clue. And then they fed him information, and that dude David that walked around with him, who is a failed candidate, he'd been running for office. He'd been looking for a reason to stick it to the Democrats because they always beat him. He could never win. So this was a yay for him. But Nick didn't do anything that we didn't know here. Nick did nothing that we didn't know here. He didn't. That's why here it was like, and the only reason Tim Walz even stepped down, Tim Walz fell on the sword. He fell on the sword. So Tim Walz thinks that if I go out, then all of these other Democrats who knew about this fraud, who was getting money from this fraud, who wasn't getting kickbacks from this fraud, and that's what was going on. Hello. If I fall on the sword, then everybody else is going to be okay. Because let's think about this for a second. If Tim Walz didn't see it, then why didn't Peggy Flanagan, the lieutenant governor, see it? You're telling me Tim Walz didn't see this fraud, and the second in line, Peggy Flanagan, didn't see this fraud. See, that's a lie. That's got to be, y'all know as well as I do, that's got to be a lie. I saw the fraud. I knew about the fraud. So you can't sit there and tell me that Tim knew nothing about it. You can't sit there and tell me that Peggy Flanagan didn't know anything about it. We all knew. We all knew. They say they're going, well, we're feeding 3,000 people. You look in the building, it's like, they ain't even 3 chairs in there. How you feeding 3,000 people and there's not even 3 chairs in there? That's not making sense. All the way down in Winona, Minnesota, they barely even got 1,000 people there. How you feeding 3,000 people and ain't even 1,000 people in there? In there. See, there was, what y'all don't understand, there was red flags throughout this whole thing. How are they getting all of this money to buy all this land? How are they buying these how are you going to these places and you buying $1 million, you putting $500,000 on $1 million houses? How are you doing that? Matter of fact, how are you going into neighborhoods, $400,000 houses, and you putting $200,000? How are you doing that? Isn't that a red flag? It shouldn't the brokerage, the real estate people say something? How are you going to the BMW dealership every single Friday and buying $70,000 vehicles? You putting $50,000 down. Shouldn't that vehicle place? Isn't that a red flag? There was so many red flags, people. It's not even funny. We all saw it. You go to the mosque and brand new everywhere, 4x4s, 150s, BMWs, Mercedes, Lincolns. How in the world is this happening? And nobody want to go check? It was all in our face, people. We just didn't have people to do their job. That is the facts. And so Donald Trump said, point blank, I'm sending ICE to Minnesota. Operation Metro Surge. They're going there for the Somalis. That's how they got here. That's the very reason why ICE is here today. And then they got here and realized, damn, we can't mess with the Somalis. Well, while we're here, let's get the Latinos. Let's get the Mexicans. And that's what they've done. And they have wreaked havoc. I'm talking sheer panic havoc on these here Mexican and Latino areas. It's crazy. They won't even come out of the house. They're afraid to walk down the street. And not only that, they will drive all the way, and they did. They drove all the way out to Chanhassen. All from the city, they drove all the way out to Chanhassen and chased two Mexicans up in the rafters. So if I was the Mexican community, I'm just saying, I would be pissed at the Somalians. Because he came here for them, and now they're wreaking havoc on their community. Because they can't get these people that they originally came here for. So if I would. I'm just saying. I'd be like, if it wasn't for y'all, ICE wouldn't be here. Our Mexican restaurants would be open. Houses will be getting built. These day laborers that they go out and get, everything would be cool. We'd go back to doing the same thing. I can't wait till the summer rolls around to see how many people we're going to have on side of the road selling fruit. I guarantee you that won't be happening either. If ICE sticks around, ain't nobody selling fruit this summer, so there'll be no fruit on the side of the road this summer. So if I was a Mexican community, I would be pissed at the Somalians. Because they brought ICE here. Period, point blank. Those are facts. Those are the facts. And people don't want to say that. People don't want to say the quiet part out loud. People don't want to say the truth about what's going on. Democrats don't want to talk about fraud. And Republicans don't want to admit that they knew the fraud was going on also. That's what we're dealing with here in Minnesota. All right, people. I'm done. I appreciate y'all. Thank you very much. Again, thank you. Anytime we got Dexter on, I thank you guys for hanging out with Dexter. I got to go find Carl is what I got to go find. Because I'm a Packer fan. If I'm sure some of you probably ain't been following me long enough. But this here backdrop was not here. There used to be Packer stuff all down. I had a whole, all of this. It's Packers, because I'm a Packer fan. But my wife got this here for me for Christmas. That was my Christmas present because she hated the thing that I had behind me before. But the Packers lost. I'm going through it. I'm almost done. I'll be done probably by 11:30 tonight. I'll have everything out of me for that Packer loss. I got to sit back and make sure that the kicker gets fired, the special team coach get fired. I don't know about Matt LaFleur right now. But he's been here long enough that he's got to win a lot more playoff games. You can't sit here and hate Jordy Love. 4 touchdowns, 300 some odd yards, no interceptions. Dude, that's a win. Any other time, that is a win. You can walk that to the bank. But then they're going to sit there and go, well, we got the defense was hurt, and Michael Parsons was hurt, and that part hurt. You go and get this guy, pay this guy all this here money, and when you really need him, he gone. Now, I'm not going to sit here and act like I wasn't one of them people that was going, yay, we got Michael Parsons. I was. But I didn't see this here part coming. It almost make me feel like the Herschel Walker trade where they gave, well, anyway. I hate to bring that up to the Viking fans because I know I probably have one of them standing outside my door tomorrow because they hate when I mention Herschel Walker here in this state. It's like saying Herschel Walker. Saying Herschel Walker 3 times in the mirror to a Viking fan. But I lost. I owe Corey $20. But he told me I got to make sure Carl said he told me to donate it to a charity. So anyway, I'm bummed, and I want you to be bummed for me. I don't care if you are a Bears fan or whatever. I'm the victim tonight. I'm the victim. Like some of the black people who jump on me because I want a better community, and then they get mad at me and say because I said I want a better community. She said those was right-wing talking points because a black man. That's what cracked me up. It's still in my head. A black man says he wants a better community. A black man says he wants the kids to read. A black man says he don't want a black kid shooting another black kid. And I have racist talking points. That's why the black community is what it is today. Y'all have a good night. I appreciate you. Peace, fam. I'm out.